Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome back to the class, guys. I hope you all are doing really great. And now we are moving forward in our ancient history crash course to the lecture of Jainism and Buddhism, guys. The most important lecture for UPSC prelims, because from here, sure, one question is going to come. One minimum, maximum two and three from this particular topic. Anything which you can predict in UPSC is this topic, guys. This is UPSC's favorite topic. So we'll study it in detail, but before going, as usual, we'll just do the quick recap in order to understand what all we have studied till now. It is just a consolidation which we do by recapping method. I have also told you that pause the video, try to think what all we have studied, and try to be one step ahead of me, right? So we started with understanding of the timeline first, right? We started with the timeline 5 lakh BCE to basically we studied till 1000 BCE. Over here, we studied it as prehistoric times. And under prehistoric times, we saw that we have divided it under different periods. For example, we started with the Paleolithic period, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, Megalithic. I hope you are like you have characteristics in your tips. Even if you don't remember the significance which we have studied, how evolution was taking place, sites are must from this topic. You have to remember the sites. For example, if I ask you right now, do you remember Payampalli? Or have you forgotten which site is this? Payampalli, Dawjali Hajing, Bhimbetka, Adamgarh, Langanj, Ahar, Gilund, Navadatoli. I hope you can put it into their respective sites, guys. I hope you have not forgotten it, which we tried to understand in the class, right? Then we moved on to understand in the Chalcolithic period only when a civilization was flourishing, and that was Indus Valley civilization. We understood different sites under it: pre-Harappan, later Harappan, mature Harappan. We also understood the socio-religious, economic, or you can say the political angle of this Indus Valley civilization. After studying this, we moved on to study not Rig Vedic but Vedic age, right? Now, under Vedic age was divided between Rig Vedic age and later Vedic age. Now, Rig Vedic age was also known as early Vedic age, and the bifurcation was basically 1000 BC. So, before 1000 BC, why this bifurcation we kept? We kept this bifurcation because in 1000 BC, iron was discovered. So, after 1000 BC, later Vedic age is also known as Iron Age, and before this, everything was known as a Lithic age, right? Lithic means Stone Age, as we have discussed. We studied several aspects of Rig Vedic and later Vedic, I hope you remember. Then we moved on to study that when Vedic age, Jana was important, then later on Janpad got important, and formation of Mahajanpads happened in the last class which we studied. We studied not only 16 Mahajanpadas, and now we have everything in our fingertips about these 16 Mahajanpadas. I hope you remember Kosala, Gandhar, Avanti, Ujjain, this Matsya. I hope 16 to 16 kingdoms we tried to remember, guys, Mahajanpadas, right? Now we will move forward and we'll try to understand, we'll try to have this Jainism and Buddhism on our fingertips, guys. Jainism and Buddhism now. Now, before moving ahead, as usual, we'll just see the PYQs. You don't have to solve right now. Just don't have to solve it right now. Just see that what angle, what UPSC want us to know. So you'll understand that mapping work is also important by this question. This question can be easily solved. Don't solve right now, but what they are focusing upon is you should know these areas, these Mahajanpadas, which we understood in the last class, right? Then you will see that all these questions are focusing upon the tenets or doctrines of Buddhism and Jainism. They are also focusing upon the scholars of Buddhism. When you will go through these PYQs, you will understand that. And different names. So what we have to do, we have to keep certain things in mind, which we will understand in the lecture only, right, guys? Also, you understand that 2022 prelims, as I have told you that they have changed the pattern, and this pattern you can see that only one pair, only two pair, all three pair. So what they want us to know, they want us to not have any vague idea. They want us to have exact short idea about certain things. That's they want us to know, guys. So whatever we will be studying, as I've told you, I am following the sources of Nitin Singhania. I am following R.S. Sharma class 11th old NCRT. I am following new NCRT and Tamil Nadu textbook. So it is a mixture of all. So you don't, whatever written in this part, that will be on our fingertips, guys. I'm not saying I am telling you each and everything about ancient history, but I am referring these sources, and whatever written in these sources, whatever words which when we study we feel complicated, but right now after doing this class, everything will be in our tips. All right, so let us start, guys. First of all, before starting, you should understand what was the scenario. And we are talking about, you have to go back in the history, in the timeline, and you have to feel it that in 600 BC to 500 BC, which we basically known as the 6th century BCE, what were the developments that were taking place? You know that the exactly later Vedic era was like diminishing, and this Mahajanpadas were form, right? Mahajanpadas were came into pictures. Large and large territory were carving out. The kings were carving out like that. You were seeing that agrarian economy means agriculture was developing because of the finding of this iron tool. Forest areas were being cleared and new areas were coming into agriculture. You were understanding that trade and economy was flourishing. You were understanding that over here different religions were coming. Also, one different religions were coming into picture. Different religions means, as per R.S. Sharma 11th class old NCRT, it is written that as many as 64 religious sect came into picture in this particular period, in this particular 100 years. You understand, guys, that religious sect means they have different tradition, they have different thinking, different rituals, and 64, it is written as this. So you try just see, just feel that how much open the society was, how much freedom of expression was there, so that 64 was existing. People were able to follow these 64 sects, but only two religion came into limelight, or you can say became very famous, became the like it became like the followers were a lot of followers that followed these particular religion was Buddhism and Jainism. And how they got flourished, what were the causes behind the flourishment of Buddhism and Jainism in that particular period. So you understand, Buddhism and Jainism didn't become the worldwide religion, right? Like Buddhism, they were at their initial stage, and initial stage was given by some human, and that human we study how they became God, right? How they became, how they found this religion, a whole new religion. So that means that period was more democratic than we are having right now. Right now in current affairs, you must be understanding the democracy in democracy index, our ranking is degrading year by year. But over that period, you understand, I'll give you, it is not all at all important for the prelims perspective, but to have an idea that what was going behind, to feel that thing, it is must, so that you can remember, you can learn things fast, right? So we will see the what were the causes basically behind the flourishment of Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism causes, we are causes of a rise of Buddhism and Jainism, right? So first cause which you will see, guys, or which you can mention, is the religion factor. What religion factor? That during this period, or because of Vedic age, you know that Brahmanical tradition was dominating because of the dominant priest class, right? Priestly class. So because of the Brahmanical, major religion was Brahmanism, and also in that religion a lot of complex rituals, a lot of complex customs was there. It was not very comprehensive to the common people. Also the language they were using was hi-fi, and hi-fi was Sanskrit, which the common people language was Pali, Prakrit, later on Prakrit. So Sanskrit they have to know in order to understand, and Sanskrit, reading in Sanskrit and writing in Sanskrit was only the privilege of upper class. So the people wanted something which they can understood. So Buddhism and Jainism gave them an alternative, simple living. No, all these rituals are required over here. Come over here. So people were attracted over there. Also, you will see in the religion factor that there was Kshatriya reaction, complete Kshatriya reaction against Brahmanical class or Brahmanical domination, pre-domination of priestly class. Why? Because Kshatriyas were against the privileges given to Brahmanism in Brahmanical class, in order to have, they have the only right to right over law, knowledge, right? So they were against it. So Kshatriya was basically the you can say were completely vocal about it. And you will realize that Jainism founder and Buddhism founder, that is Siddhartha and Mahavira, were basically from Kshatriya clan. We'll connect later on. Right now, you're just seeing religion factor, how it is working. Also, we had the Varn divided society. So, Varn divided society were causing three upper classes were privileged, two basically upper classes was privileged, and the last class that was Shudra was basically oppressed, was basically exploited. So, there was social tension. And Buddhism and Jainism accepted all. They didn't discriminate. So, every like the lower strata people were attracted towards it. I hope you are understanding, guys. This is just for understanding, so that if they ask you any question in Azerbaiján or region, or if they give you a statement, so that you can feel that statement and understand what was happening at that time, right? Now, second factor you talk about economic factor, guys. Economic factor. How economic factor? You know, rise of Mahajanpadas were having. You know that agrarian economy, agrarian agriculture was coming into picture. Now, in order to flourish agriculture, we were using iron plowshare. Plowshare means, you know, right, the way which we till the land with the bullocks. So we need animals for that. That means animal husbandry was there. But the Brahmanical tradition rituals were demanding animal sacrifice in a large scale. Animals were being killed for sacrifices, for rituals. So people wanted, peasant wanted some religion which is prohibiting this. Who religion came forward was Buddhism and Jainism, prohibited killing of animals. So people attracted to this particular tenets of that. In that time, Buddhism and Jainism didn't became any religion, right? But they followed it. Okay, this person or this sect is saying, right, that we should not kill animals, and they have a reason for it. So people were listening to them. Religion they became a lot later after they died, the founder of it. But what they try to give is the ideas. So ideas are important, guys. If you have any new idea, if you think it should be right, then it is right. Follow it to the core, right? You don't know after you're like after 100 years you pass away what that thing will become. So never let your ideas die if it is having truth, if it is having some truth, right? So this chapter is not just chapter. If you see, we are studying it from prelims point of view also. It is a crash course, so I cannot devote much time in contemplating or thinking about this thing. We have to be very specific about things, right? But this chapter gives you a lot of knowledge, also a lot of knowledge which we can imbibe, right? So third aspect we can talk about is that cities were coming into picture. Now different cities were coming into picture. Trade was happening, trade and commerce were happening. You have to connect like that. When trade and commerce will happen, the class which will get importance was the Vaishyas. Now because of the class which was getting, Vaishyas were getting importance, now they favored that there should no war take place, so that trade and commerce should increase. Because of there will be no war, then trade and commerce will increase, right? So they favored Buddhism and Jainism because non-violence was preached and Vaishyas followed it. So that non-violence should be prescribed, there will be no war, and trade and commerce will be flourished. So Vaishyas supported them with money, with material. That's why Buddhism and Jainism got the strong hold out of these 64 religious sects. They were speaking truth. They were following the real life problems. They were not talking about any metaphysical things. Bhagwan hai ya nahi hai, God is there or not. Like these questions, they were not discussing. I will tell you the exact details of who were discussing Buddhism followed or not, Jainism followed or not. We were seeing, but overall, if you will see, they were counteracting the real life problems. The real life problems was Shudras were getting discriminated. Buddhism and Jainism said, "Come, everyone can come." They were saying that you were seeing that large number of animals were being killed in the name of rituals. Buddhism and Jainism said no killing of animals, non-violence. Are you understanding, guys? Fourth factor, you can also say that people who were seeing that propertied class was getting influential. People were running behind the properties. As I have told you, Janapada got importance. That land got importance over here. So they were seeing that people were getting into the luxuries of life. So people wanted to get in the primitive life where simple living, high thinking was the philosophy. Again, Buddhism and Jainism gave this only, that you have to move towards asceticism or austerity. This all is related to sainthood, right, guys? So these are all things which you have seen. Now you know the causes. Now I am telling you this will not come in the exam, but it will help you to eliminate some of the parts if they ask you in the statements, right? It will help you to eliminate. So you saw the causes as religious. Under this, you know the points which you have to write: economic, social, also under religious, social tension also developed, right, because of one system. You also saw the cities and Vaishya's interest. You saw the that people reaction against propertied class. Like this, you know what was happening during 500 or 600 BC to 500 BC. These developments were taking place. And now we will come to the topic, guys, and the topic is Buddhism. We will see one by one how Buddhism got into picture. Who was the founder? Who gave it the foundation stone? Like we all know that it was Siddhartha Gautam. Now his early life, his personal details are important. I am going to tell we are going to discuss about the family details of Siddhartha Gautam, and it is important, guys. These type of questions used to come 20 years back in the time, but still they got importance because you don't know UPSC. So only two people's family life we will discuss: Siddharth Gautam and Mahavira, guys, right? So don't feel, and we will try to learn in a manner that you will feel interested, right? So Siddharth Gautam, all right. Now you should know that at what time period he was born. So you have now got a rough idea that between 600 BC to 500 BC he must be born. So over here in 563 BC, or you can say 564 BC, Siddharth Gautam was born, a normal human being, which which in his entire life did something that was extraordinary, that gave the whole new religion, right? So at the rate 564 BC he was born, and he was born at the place Kushi, not Kushinagar, guys, but Kapilvastu. In Kapilvastu there is a small town like Lumbini, and these are present in present day Nepal. Later on, when you will study Ashoka, you will find that a stoop Ashoka installed in the memory of Siddhartha Gautama, or Buddha, which later on came to known as Buddha. A stupa was installed in this Lumli one. Ramandei inscription. You will understand it later on, right? Just try to link. So Siddhartha Gautama was not a normal human being. He was not a normal human being at that time. He was the son of a king, Suddhodana. He was the son of the queen Maya. So he was not a normal human being over there in that particular people, or in that particular period. He was having all the property. He was having the whole kingdom to himself. He was the prince. He got married early, and he got married early to Yashodhara, and Yashodhara was also the princess, not a normal human being, normal day people, right? So you're understanding, king and these two people were ruling over these were the Kshatriya clan, right? And they were ruling over Shakya clan. And this king was not like they were elected king. Are you understanding? Republican democracy used to happen over at that time period. So you understand that democracy is not the new feature. India is having the culture of democracy since ancient times. So you can add these statements in your GS2 answers, in like you can connect all this information, right? But now here you come. So Dudhana Maya gave Siddharth Gautam. Siddharth Gautam got married with Yashodhara, and they had a son named Rahul. Now everything was going smooth till he reached at the rate of 29 years old. When he became 29 years old, all this year was he was trying to find out something, right? A lot of life details are given in the scriptures, in the books of Siddharth Gautam, how he led. But from all the content, you must know that Siddharth Gautam was not satisfied. What he was seeing was not truth. He was not able to find the truth. What is truth? These all relationships are false, are based upon certain things. One day I am happy, the other day I am sad. Why this is happening? So in the books, in certain books, you must be knowing that while traveling or while seeing his kingdom, he saw four people basically, and his heart got changed, and he renounced his home. So at the age of 29 years, he renunciation took place. He left his home. He left everything. He left his family. He left the whole kingdom, which was to him. And at that particular time, he was the prince, guys. You understand that thing. Can you leave one thing right now or in your possession? And he left the whole territory. So he particularly, see, this is not important, but you try to understand that he saw four things: diseased person, dead person, what else? A saint, and diseased person, dead person, a saint, and you can say, I'm not remembering, just we will check it out. Just check it out what four things he said, right? What saw, right? These four things he saw, and at the rate of 29 years old, he renunciation took place and he left his home. When he left his home, he went places to places. He never stayed at one place, right? So for 6 years, he spent in prayers, or you can say meditation, you can say complete penance, complete ascetic nature, tapasya in Hindi we call it, right? So he at the then after 6 years of his hard work, after 6 years of his penance, he got his enlightenment in the name that is nirvana, which is written in the scriptures of Buddhism. At the rate age of 35 years, he got nirvana, that means enlightenment. Now this personal life story what you are getting, you have to know certain things, guys. The story is what you will get from the story. You have to understand that certain life events have taken place. First, Siddhartha was born. So this was known as Janama, and it represented by bull or lotus symbols. You have to remember. Second, a second important thing which had happened is the renunciation, right? You can call this a renunciation as a Maha Bhinish Karman, and it is represented by horse, and his horse name was basically Kantak. Third, after he renunciated his home, he went in the search of truth and he finally found the truth. That and what truth he found, we will discuss it later on. But when he found truth, and the event that we call is basically Nirvana Prapti, and that is Nirvana, the enlightenment. And the symbol we use it for Bodhi tree, because under that Bodhi tree he got this enlightenment. Fourth is basically after getting nirvana, he spent his life, 40 years of his life, 35 years he spent, like he got the enlightenment. Now after this he spent his entire life for around 40 years. At the age of 80 he died. He spent in enlightenment of others, in preachings, in teachings. So for that first sermon where must be taken place, right? So first sermon was taken place at Deer Park at the rate Sarnath, in the Sarnath place, right? And this we call as Dharam Chakra Parivartan. Now this Dharam Chakra Parivartan is denoted by a wheel, and this was given by Buddha to his five disciples, guys. Two name I am telling you, Upali and Anand. Remember these names also, Upali and Anand. We will discuss it again. Five disciples at the rate Deer Park, Sarnath. Fifth event when he died. He died at the age of 80 years, right? Where? Kushinara. You have to remember this place. And this thing we call it as Maha Parinirvan. You have to remember this, guys. So what you are understanding that there are different names in the prelims time. When you will sit for the prelims, you will get confused about these names, guys. I am telling you, Mahavinishkaram, Dharam Chakra Parivartan, Mahan Parinirvan. So right now, just pause the video and try to write it yourself 2-3 times until unless you get confident about it. And today also write one more time in the whole day whenever you are seeing. Right now, just kill this topic over here. We don't have to, you will not get the time to read again and again. Maybe 2-3 times you will read again this topic, right? So see that, like right now, just try to practice it more. So I'll show you this. See over here, you will find out, utilize this PPT as it is, right? Utilize this PPT, like you will find all the scene, like scenario during 6th century BC. So you can find out that, uh, like issues or causes behind rise of Jainism and Buddhism. Right over here, you will find the personal detail in very short. Queen Maya, King Sudarna. You will understand everything which is written. Right? We have discussed all. So over here, see, Mahaparinirvan is represented by stoop. I forgot to tell you that, right? Wheel, dharmchakra parivartan, bodhi tree, nirvan, horse, mahapanishkaram, lotus bull, chan. So now the second thing which comes into picture is that guys, what he like at the age of 29 years, after knowing that nobody, the life he was living was not, he was not able to get satisfied, he was not he was not understanding that, because he was able to get everything in life, right? So he was not understanding what is the truth. So from 29 years to 35 years, what did he learn? He learned that the truth of life, and the truth of life is basically he gave it by the four noble truth. He understood that this world, as soon as we born, this world is full of suffering. He gave this. If you will take life, if you will take birth, you have to go through this suffering. Now this suffering, he found the root cause of this suffering is at, like at every second in matlab every second we try to desire something. So the root cause for this suffering is desire. Now he suggested that we should curb these desires in order to have a good life. So he tried to understood that, okay, first of all, this is the problem and this is the cause of the problem. Now he's giving the solution of the problem to see. He spent this particular years understanding all this, guys. 29 to 35, 6 years are huge. All alone to himself, understanding everything. By love and passion, he changed the whole. He used to preach, debate, participate with people, try to teach them. Right, guys? So first, suffering, he understood that world is full of suffering. If you will take birth, you will suffer because desire is into you. You will desire at any moment. You will desire for something, and when desire will be there, then if you achieve it, there will be a short happiness. Now, happiness is not also good. It is a suffering, because when you will have, you will be happy, you will be sad also. So what Buddhism later on gave, or he tried to give you the middle path, neither be too extreme happy or too extreme sad about anything. You fail prelims, don't worry, just be moderate. You pass prelims, don't worry, be moderate. You pass the whole, you got the merit in the UPSC, just be normal, and you will become normal in the in this preparation phase, guys. So basically, this will imbibe in you the mediocre path, the middle path, that you are not concerned about both the extremities. So third, which he gave, that you should stop or curb the desires. And to curb these desires, he gives the noble eightfold path. Eightfold path. Now, eightfold path, what he gave in eightfold path, guys. This is important. See, you have also read it. You must have read it multiple times. But I am telling you right now, you must be understanding it. When I'll be taking the revision also, you will be able to tell as it is, guys. So just check it out. So eightfold path, now I'm saying, easy to understand things are there, but we have to keep in mind, so that, see, these things are easy to understand, but at the examination day we have to divulge out all the information, so it should be on our fingertips. So when we talk about this eightfold path, he said that first of all you should have a right view of something, positive view. When you will right view, then you will have the right, what, right intention. When you will have the right intention, you will speak good, that means right speech. When you will have the right speech, you will do the right action. When you will have the right action, you will live rightfully, that is livelihood. So these are four: one, two, three, four. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood. And then we will see what are the left one, like three are remaining, right? So over here I'll tell you. See over here, right view. When we are viewing right, we have the intention, we will have good speech, and we'll get good action, right action, right? Then livelihood, and if we are living good, then we will put right efforts, then right concentration and right mindfulness. This, if you apply in your UPSC preparation too, short rank, you will, it is guaranteed. Try to read this in pairs. Mindfulness will come because when you will concentrate. Livelihood will become good when you will effort. Speech and action, view and intention. Eightfold path done. I hope this much is clear, guys. So now Buddha, when preached, he preached how he preached, how he was able to get to the masses. He was able to get to the masses by organizing a order, that is a Sangh. We call it a monastic order. And he gave some rules for this particular monastic order. The rules were very simple, that you some do's and don't, basically. Now, because of this Sangh, several people was associated with it, male, woman, no caste discrimination, everyone was associated with it. So this, because of this Sangh, everyone was connected following the Buddhas. What you have to other understand about this is that when, just wait. So as you were seeing that he organized Sangh, he was using not Sanskrit as a language, Pali as a language. Because of Sangh, several people got associated with it without any caste discrimination. Now they were understanding it because Pali was being used. Now he was interested. Why he was interested? Because he was talking sense. Why he was talking sense? Because he was talking real life problems, real life things which were happening. He was not talking about God. He was not talking about soul. So when in the question you it will come that Buddhism believed in God, Buddhists believe in soul, that statement will be wrong, guys. They don't believe in soul, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in whether God exists or not. They don't believe in that. They never participated in this debate. Buddha never participated in this debate, guys. So all these things were happening. Also there was support of, as I've told you, there was support of kings. Later on you will understand that Ashoka also supported, monarchies supported. So everyone was supporting that. He was keep on preaching, and also with the love and compassion he was winning everyone. He was winning the evil by good. He was winning the rude by love, right? So that was happening entire period, that was happening. So he, by his work, he had some good disciples who understood him, who understood his mission. So because of this disciples, when he died, this disciple continued this tradition. He compiled all his teachings. They were grateful that Buddha showed them the path of enlightenment. They show them the truth. So disciples, like, you keep on remembering, guys, Upali, Ananda. Now it should not be vague that okay, disciples. Now you should know some names that Upali and Ananda was the disciples of Buddha, and you will find somewhere that Ananda was used to be a favorite. In some textbook, it is written like that. But we don't have to go into that picture, right? So, because of these disciples, when Buddha died, now you know that at the age of 80 years in Kushinara, Mahaparinirvana, because Mahaparinirvana, Buddha died after his death, his disciple continued his tradition, he continued their teaching by compiling on the information about Buddha. Now, when you will see, this comes under the Buddhist Council topic. So, in the form of a Buddhist Council, basically, they try to compile all his teaching. Now, what all you have to remember here, guys, is first, let me change the color. First, understand everything is important in Buddhist council. See, whatever I am telling you, whatever is coming out of my mouth, or whatever you are seeing in the screen is important, guys. So, first of all, you will remember the year in which it was happening. So, Buddhist council, total 4 Buddhist council happens, guys. First happened in what what period was going on? 600 to 500, and he must have died 564. He must have died in 483 or sometimes, right? So in 483 BCE, this first Buddhist council taken place. Somewhere it is like written 400 BCE. Don't go into that much depth. Remember one, nobody, the question in prelims will not come that when first Buddhist council taken place. The question will come in the form of that it took place in the 5th century BC, like this UPSC always ask, right? So you should know that 5th century BC was over there. Second Buddhist council happened in 383 BCE. Third Buddhist council happened in 250 BCE, and fourth Buddhist council happened in 72 AD. We will check this 72. I'm doubtful about it, but just try to understand that how much gap 72 AD में पहुंच गए हैं. We have reached to 72 AD, 250 BC, 383 BC. First understand this. So four Buddhist council taken place. We will understand. Now this council was taken place, so someone was patronizing this, right? That was this council could take place. That way a lot of gathering could taken place. So someone was financing. Who was the financer? Money matters. Money always matters, right? Money always matters. Buddhism flourished because kings were supporting. Rest 64 sects nobody knows because they were not supported by the rich people. They were not supported by the kings. So you understand, no matter how much truthful you are, you should have some kind of support with you. The support of the powerful people. Powerful people, by means what I mean is that you understand that if I say something vague, but Modi ji or any powerful people say that or consent to my what I'm saying, then this will become a big thing. But if I'm saying the very nice or very truthful thing and nobody is like giving heed towards that, so it will get into like it will lapse, right? So in this way you have to understand the kings are important, who are patronizing them. So 483 BCE, who were patronizing the king, you will remember that Ajat Shatru. In last, I hope you remember Ajat Shatru of which dynasty. And the chairman of this particular session or Buddhist council, first Buddhist council was basically who? Mahakasapa. Mahakasapa. Remember, you have to remember, guys. Automatically in the statement they will write Mahakasapa was related to what? Jainism or something, right? Like that. Mahakasapa was used to be in 2nd century BC. Are we talking about 2nd century BC? So this knowledge will not completely directly come as it is. This knowledge will become indirectly. You have to utilize, you have to interconnect. But first you have to have everything on tips, then only you will be able to interconnect, right? Then you move ahead. In 383 BC, 100 years down the line, Kala Sok. Kala Sok. And now you know in the last class we have understood the dynasties part, right? So the chairman over here was who? Chairman was, I am also forgetting, guys. Mahakasapa, will check it in the PPT, right? Just wait. So we have to know the chairman over here. Maybe I'll remember it. 250 BC, famous Ashoka the Great. Okay, I remember the chairman. You have to remember it too, that I have also forgotten. Saba Kami. And you will also write it, guys. See, this should happen in the practice time that you forget, but not in the examination time. Sabakami. Remember these names. If you know some of the names, so it will help you out in elimination that, okay, I have read about Sabakami. It was in 3rd century BC, so it could not happen in the ADs, right? Like this, it will help you to eliminate. I hope you are understanding me. Chairman. In Ashoka's period, chairman was Mogaliputta Tissa. So they were patronizing. Kings were patronizing, giving money, giving material. Chairman was Mogaliputta Tissa. Mogaliputta Tissa, you will see the name in the PPT. Don't worry about it. In 72 AD, Kanishka came into picture. Kanishka king. We will study about these kings in detail in their respective classes. Don't worry. Kanishka, Kushan king, came into picture. Right. And the chairman was Vasu Mitra. Vasumitra. This was the basic picture which you have to understand it first. If you understand this much, then things are becoming easy now. How? That now we will see that in this particular first Buddhist council, as soon as Buddha died, they had the council and they were in the importance of this council was they compiled the whole teachings of Buddha into Pitakas. And 3 Pitakas came into picture. Out of which in the first Buddhist council, Vinay Pitaka and Sutta Pitaka was formed. Vinay Pataka was basically about the rules and regulation code of conduct inside the Sangh, how you should follow it. It was basically rules that was compiled by Upali, which I have told you, disciple. Sutta Pitaka was compiled by, these are basically the stories of or the doctrines of Buddhas, or you can say the principle of Buddhas. Ananda compiled it. Then in second, now over here you will see in the second Buddhist council, after the Buddha's death, now Buddha has gone. Now his followers interpreted, some of his followers interpreted him in the different way. So some followers were completely differently interpreting him. Some followers were saying different things about Buddha. That no, Buddha used to say this. No, Buddha used to say this, right? Like this was happening. So over here, the first time Buddhism got divided into sects, and we will talk about which two sects it got divided. Sthavirvadin and Mahasangika. Don't worry about it right now. Just understand that this was happening. There was some debate around the rules of this Vinayapitaka also. So just understand what was happening. In 250 BC, Abhidhamma Pitaka, the third pillar, three Pitakas I told you about, two Pitakas was formed in first century BC, this particular first Buddhist council only. In the third council, when the Ashoka was there as a patronizing king and chairman was Mogliputta Tissa, this Abhidhamma Pitaka was formed, and Abhidhamma Pitaka was related to basically teachings, to seeing philosophical things, debating, right? All these things were related to Abhidhamma Pitaka. In 72 AD, this section were taken place in the Buddhism schism, you can also say. Now this further divided into Hinayan and Mahayana in the period of fourth Buddhist council when Kanishka was patronizing and Vasumitra was the chairman. What you are understanding by this, guys, you are not understanding this only. You are understanding that the time period of Mahakaspa you have known now, Sabakami you know now, Mogliputtissa you know now, Vasumitra, they are insignificant. But if you analyze the questions, they will put any one word, any one over here, and two absurd names. Now, at least you will be in a position to eliminate this. Note that we have heard, that we have read that it was in this century BC and it was under Buddhism. So like this, you have to interconnect everything, guys. After doing this council, now we will talk about that. Okay, some sections were taking place, and in second Buddhist council, now you know that as soon as you remember second Buddhist council, you must remember that okay, 383 BC. Okay, you know Kalasoka. Okay, Sabakami was the chairman. This information should come to your mind, and it will only happen when you will revise it. Now 383 BC, guys. Second Buddhist council. Now Buddha was interpreted in a different way. Some were saying that Buddhism, like Buddha used to, like we don't have to die, like image worship should not be there. Some were saying we have to believe in the original teaching of Buddha, and some were saying no, Buddha used to say like this. So it developed. You just have to remember that Sthavir Vadin. They divided into Sthavir Vadin and Mahasangika. Mahasangika, Sthavirvadin were basically saying that we are the original preachers, or we are the original disciples of this particular Buddha, right? Of this religion, we are following the original tenets of it, but you are not following it because Mahasangika gave picture to the Buddhism. So they started image worshipping, you can call it. In rough sense, in this particular 383 BC, this was happening. Later on, Mahasangika got formed into Mahayana, and Sthavirvadin is the form of basically Theravada or Hinayan, which we will see. Don't worry about it. Just understand that Buddhism got divided into two sects, Sthavirvadin and Mahasangika. Under Sthavirvadin also different sects came into picture. Different sects like Sautrantika. Now you don't have to learn every sect, what are their philosophy. This is not to be done, guys. Just understand. Then Sarastivadin. Then Sankrantika. Then Samatya. Right, this much you have to learn. Four at least keep to remember. I have written in the PPT a lot of which are written in basically Nitin Singhani, right? But you have to learn that these are related to Sthavirvadin. So if they will say that these people were image worshipping, no, they were not doing image worshipping, guys. Mahasangika included Lohit, Lokatar Vadin. We will see the spelling. Lokatar Vadin. You will see over here Gokulika, and two more you will see over here. I'll tell you right now. Now Mahasangika later on, two important which I want to tell you is Mahasangika divided into Sunyat, or so not Sunyat but Madhyamika school. Now Madhyamika school was given by one scholar, Nagarjuna. You have to remember this Nagarjuna name, guys. Nagarjuna was related. Vasumitra was related to somewhere else. Nagarjuna is related to Madhyamika school. Madhyamika school, what it says that everything we see, everything we feel has zero existence. It is not existing at all because everything is in transient phase. So that means some of school was saying that existentialism. That means if this is a glass of water, this is existing. But Madhyamika, as per Madhyamika school, this is nothing, zero. It has zero value, right? Like this, we have other school which came into picture. Just let me show you guys. Now you will see this Buddhist council. Now you will anywhere study anywhere, everywhere you will find this in any book, right? So now you have remembered. I hope you have remembered this. Just wait, guys. See this particular, this Sangh got divided into Mahasangika and Sthavirvadin. You know that Mahasangika had Lohatar Vadins, Lohattara Vadins. Remember like this, Lohattara Vadins, Ek Vyavharikas, Eka Vyavharikas. Whereas Sthavirvadin was having Samatyas, Vibhajyavadins and Sarvastivadin, which I have told you. Also, it was having Samatya, Sanagarika, Bhadrayanika, Sankrantika, Swatrantika. Only remember four which I have told you. Mahasangika, Kokalika, Ek Vyavharikas. I have told you the Lohatar, Vadins. So in the statements, any one of this will be given, and it will be written that it is related to Hinduism, Vaishnavism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism. Right now, you will be in a position to eliminate. Now, I'll not ask you to study detail about them, guys. See, the only thing which I want you to understand is Tharvedvadin Mahasangika. They divide into Tharvedvadin Mahasangika. Mahasangika led to Mahayan type of worshipping. Now, when we will be teaching Mahayan, you will understand that all the features of Mahayan will be in raw form emerged from this Mahasangika school only. So, all these particular sects will be having some feature of Mahayan. Right? Try to connect like this. And all these features will be have some features of Hinian. More than enough, guys. Now, Mahayan, I told you in 1st century to 3rd century BC, Nagarjuna came to picture and he gave Madhyamika school, which is related to Sunyat doctrine. Basically, everything is non-essential. Everything has having zero value. Sunya. Yogacara is given by Vasubandhu in 3rd, 4th century. Yogacara. Now, they believed in both. They were contrary to each other. They believed in both. That if something is existing, that means they have some value. It is not like unreal. They have a reality. Yogacara was saying like that. So just read, just understand in this manner. No need. These are large school guys. You can do PhD under this Madhyamika school also. This is sect. People are following it all through their life. So just you have to do the word association. Under Mahayana only in later period you will see Tantricism, that is a Vajranayam was came into picture. We will talk about it. Don't worry. Now you understand that, guys, one major schism which were developed over the period of time when Mahayan Mahasangika got transformed into Mahayan. So Hinian was there. So everything which was old, which was related to Buddha, original teaching of Buddha, that was Hinian. And Mahayan came into picture. You can say Mahayan came into picture in the time of 72 AD, in the time of Kanishka. The bifurcation happened, Hinian and Mahayan. That means everything before that which was studied was understudied original preaching as Hinian. And then Mahayan came into picture. What is the basic difference between them? First of all, Hinian, the main difference between them, that Hinian was not doing the deification or image worshipping or idol worshipping. They did not have any idol, they did not have any image. But Mahayana were having image idol worshipping. You can see the images of Buddha over there. Mahayana was having, Hinian was not having it. Hinian was basically believing in the original preachings of Buddha. They believed in individual salvation. Individual salvation, guys, means that enlightenment of self first. That only individual should get enlightened. It should, like, they should strive towards achieving this salvation, this nirvana, through the eightfold path or through the four noble truths. By the eightfold path you should get into this particular nirvana prapti. But Mahayana were saying that no, they believed in the concept of bodhisattvas, and bodhisattvas concept is basically that before you will get enlightened or you will get nirvana prapti, you will not get it until you are not letting every human being to their to this destination of enlightenment. So if I am a bodhisattva, touch wood, if I'm a bodhisattva, then my job is not to get myself enlightened. Before I get enlightenment, I'll try to, everybody whom I am in connection with, I'll try to give them enlightenment, guys. So if you follow present day Buddhism, Namyo Renge Kyo, if they are having this kind of thing, like when they pray for others, they try to rid away the suffering of others. They pray for others cumulatively. If you know about this, if you don't, then it's all right. So bodhisattvas were the basic concept. The bodhisattva will born and he will be enlightening other people, and he will be like giving nirvana to the other people, showing them the path, right path, for giving them eightfold paths, right? So they were basically following the paramitas. Paramitas, what do you understand by paramitas? These are vows which they have to take, bodhisattvas. So there were different bodhisattvas which you have to see. I have added in the PPT also. You just have to link that, okay, somewhat we have. So what name would you say if I am a bodhisattva and I have given enlightenment to all whom I am connected with, and then I got my enlightenment? What will you call? You will call me Samyak Buddha. Samyak Buddha. Right? So Buddha is basically the word which denotes that enlightenment in that particular vocabulary, in that particular era. It means enlightened person. Buddha. If I am enlightened, I will be called as Buddha. But right now, in that period, Siddhartha Gautam was called as Buddha. But prior to Siddhartha Gautam, there was something in this particular doctrine. There was something called Buddha, the enlightened world. We were calling them before birth of that Siddhartha Gautam, earlier birth, Dipankar Buddha. And future in which Buddha will take birth again for the enlightenment of others, it will be my Maitri Buddha, future Buddha basically. I hope you are understanding this much. Now over here you try to see, I have made this chart. Heenyan, lesser vehicle basically. Heenyan, yan means Vahan, vehicle. Heen, lesser vehicle. Greater vehicle, Mahayan. So basically original preachings, they were liberal and heavenly less of Buddhism. No idol worship. Individual salvation, Bodhisattva. Samyak Buddha, you know. In Lotus Sutra and Mahavamsa, see, these are the literatures. When you, in art and culture, you will do literature part, you will understand different books of this particular Buddhism, right? So Lotus Sutra, Mahavamsa, Deepvamsa, you will understand over there. So they were having this Lotus Sutra is having paramitas, different paramitas. We will see it. Now, what is Vajrayan? Basically, Mahayana gave existence to the Vajrayan in 5th to 6th century AD, guys, because these are the phenomena in Buddhism happening in AD, not BC. This was the phenomena of BC. So, if asked that in the 3rd century BC, what they were following Heenyan. So, Ashoka was related to Heenyan Buddhism. Vajrayan, basically, it included, because of Buddhism and Shaivism touch, they included Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, that are not by this ascetic being, but you can achieve salvation, you can achieve Nirvana by the Tantra, Yantra, and Mantra. So it is a shortcut way of achieving salvation, right? So less people follow this 5% only. Mahayana follows like 50% of the Buddhism is related to Mahayana only. Several sects are there. You don't have to understand all this. This was a, I found it good, so I added it. But you have to focus upon is the Indian ones. Dipankara Buddha, you understand Shakyamuni Buddha, right? Then over here Mahakassap, Manjushri Buddha, Bodhisattvas. Then Bodhisattvas came into picture. So I'll tell you one more thing. Just wait, guys. All right, Heenyan, Mahayan, Vajrayan we did. One is Theravada. Theravada is basically the form of Heenyan only, guys. So school of Endal monks, right? Their ultimate goal was cessation of Kalesh. Now what is Kalesh? Kalesh is basically suffering, anxiety. Any problem which you are seeing in the form of suffering is kleshas. So basically, how we will stop this thing? You will stop when you will achieve this nirvana prapti. Why? Because then there will be stop in the cycle of death and birth. You will not take place birth in this particular human form, right? They believed in samatha and vipassana, guys. This vipassana still happens. Few of you must be knowing it. Samatha is for calming the mind, and in vipassana is to give insight to the three marks of existence. Means that we are impermanent. When you will understand, Buddhism is all about impermanence, guys, not permanent. Buddha understood that in those period that nothing is permanent. When we see something as permanent, that is the cause of suffering. So everything is in move, everything is in move. So we also heard that change is the nature of universe, right? So this is what they meant, transient nature of life, that everything is in the move, nothing is permanent. So we'll see that impermanence, suffering, and realization of non-self is basically the three marks of existence explained in Vipassana. Visuddhi Marg is the path of purification given by Buddha Ghosh when 5th century AD. You have to understand it. And he gave 7 stages of purification. You don't have to go into that. Just under that, understand that Buddha Ghosh was present in 7th century AD. Or sorry, 5th century AD, guys. Right? I hope you are understanding. Over here, you will see the paramitas. No need to study, no need to ratify it. Just have a read about it, right? What are bodhisattvas? What I have explained you is written only here, right? Bodhisattvas in Theravada Buddhism was also there. No need to see this. Just read it out. But bodhisattvas in Mahayana Buddhism is important, right, guys? Now these are 8 prominent bodhisattvas. Like, see, study like this. Buddha's compassion we have. Buddha's wisdom we have. Manjushri Avalokiteshwar. Now Buddha's different things is associated with this particular bodhisattvas. Maitri, Buddha's activity. Vajrapani, and these 8 you just have to read. Don't try to ratify it, because ratification will not be good over here. Where I was telling you that ratification is needed, where it is needed. But over here, you just do the association. That if in that particular line, in one line, if they have written Sarvina Varna and 3 others name, and they are asking who are they related to, then you should be in a position to eliminate one of it. Right, guys? All right. So, what all we have seen right now. So, we started with what? We started with the Siddharth Gautam birth took place at the rate 364 BC, 564 BC, guys. Now, King Siddhodana, Queen Maya gave birth to Siddharth Gautam at Lumnivan Kapilvastu. Married to Yasodhara, gave son Rahul. Renunciation took place. Mahabhinish Karman took place. He went at the age of 29. He went to for the penance to find the truth. He found the truth given in 4 noble truths. He gave the path for salvation, for nirvana prapti, so that other can also do it. And for his entire lifetime, after 35 years of age, he gave it to the people in the form of sang. He tried to go in deep into the like people's hurt by dealing with the daily life today problems. He did not deal with soul. He did not deal with God. He dealt with all the people suffering which they were suffering from. Caste discrimination, because there was no discrimination of caste over there. So are you understanding? He used Pali as the language, right? So his teachings were compiled. Then four Bidus council taken place in which his teachings were compiled. And now you know the four Buddhist councils: 483, 383, 250, and 72 AD or 78 AD. Just check it out, right? You remember their names: Mogli Puttatissa. Where was Vasumitra? Where was Ashwag? Where was that Buddha Ghosh? Buddha Ghosh was in 1st century AD, guys. Where was Sabakami in 3rd century 383? Where was Mahakasapa in 483 BC? Right now, you have to remember like this, guys. It will become complicated when they will ask you in the statement it was written that Dipankara, or I'm sorry, this Samyak Buddha is related to, or this Sabakami is related to, right? Then we try to understand after Buddhist council the schism between Sthavirvadin and Mahasangika, right? And Sthavirvadin, we saw a different sect. Mahasangika, we saw two main Yogacara and a Madhyamika school. Then Hinayan, Mahayan, Theravada, and Vajrayan, right? So this much I think is enough in this particular Buddhism, guys. Few things which you will understand from the point of view of art and culture is Chaitya and Viharas they used to construct. Chaityas were basically prayer halls. Viharas were basically where these are carved out places in the cave so that where there they can stay. And chatyas are one beautiful places with pillars where they could they could sit and pray, right? Like large chatyas and vihars. And over the period of times when you will study art and culture, you will see that there will be, as art and culture was improving, as time was moving forward, the innovation with chatyas and viharas were taking place also. Different kings were patronizing it, right? So I hope this much is clear. You must be remembering, revisit the topics again and again, and things will be clear, guys. If we have this thing in hold, we are in a position to deal with the questions of this particular topic. Right now, absurdity will always be there. You cannot pick everything. Like for example, in previous year some random names came. Now you will rectify those random names. Now you will feel confident. This should not happen, guys. Again some new name will come next year in 2023. So you don't have to like go behind all this. You, whatever you are reading, keep it fixed. You must know Ananda Upali, you must know different Avalokiteshwar, Manjushri, Shiti Garbha. Are you knowing these names first? So don't go behind any names, read it again and again, right? Now we will move forward and we will understand Jainism. So Jainism, under Jainism, you must have to understand first that Jainism comes from the word Jain or Jina. Jain or Jina are basically those people who have conquered in their senses, the power of their senses, they have conquered it. They can control it. So Jainism is basically given by a lot of teachers which has come before the most famous name for Jainism, Mahavira, right? So Mahavira, the people who came and protected this world, right? In the form of controlling the senses, they tried to conquer it, basically known as Tirthankars. Tirthankars. So different Tirthankars came into picture who derived, who basically set up this Jainism. But this Jainism got established, flourished because in the reign of Mahavira, because Mahavira was able to influence people to get salvation. He was able to do the same thing as Buddhism was Buddha was doing, that helping people to end their suffering, to follow the eightfold path. Similar role was played by Mahavira at the same time period. You are understanding? Now things are like that. It is said that they have never met, right? So Mahavira was, we will see the lifetime also, but just now understand that not Mahavira did not develop Jainism in his time period. Jainism developed before him also in the form of Tirthankars, and there were total 24 Tirthankars who established this, who gave different aspects of Jainism. Now Mahavir was the 24th one, and first Tirthankar would have been in the past also before Mahavir. That was Rishabdev. Rishabhanath was also known as like that. 23rd Tirthankars were Parshvanath. Like that you will see. Let me uh, like tell you. Over here you see 24 Tirthankars visible. No need to see all the one. Just give a reading once. Remember this Rishabha. Remember this Mahavira, Parshvanath. Right? And one which I am focusing upon is Mali. Mali, some sects later on you will hear that in Jainism also different sects came, and some believed that Mali was a female and some believe Mali was a male. So remember this 19th also Mali, and just give a rest. You just give it a read, right? So basically, our Mahavira got born. Also, again, he was not a normal person. He was also the son of king and queen, guys. King Siddhartha. Now, don't get confused. Siddhartha over there was the son who was Buddha. King Siddhartha and Queen Trishala gave birth to Mahavir at the rate where Kundalgram, Vaishali. Now, I hope by doing the last class on Mahajanpads, you know the exact place of Vaishali, guys. We have practiced this multiple times over there. Now, Mahavira was born at the rate of 540 BC, guys. 540 BC. Now, who was elder, Mahavira or हमारे we are Buddha? 563 BC. Obviously, Mahavira was elder. right? Now Mahavira at the age of 30 years left, and he took 12 years to get Kavalya. Kavalya. Kavalya means salvation. There, Nirvana was word he was used. Kavalya over here is enlightenment. Basically, he was also known as Jitendra, who has conquered his Indriyas. Indriyas means senses. See this. This much information. See, Jainism is small. Vardhaman Mahavir, 24th Tirthankar. Right? This is personal history which you will remember. They were also king and queen. Right? And they were from Janatrika clan. This much is important from personal life. Now, basically, you will understand that Jainism and Buddhism, the basic difference was Jainism also did not believe in caste system. They also they focused that Buddhism was not believing in soul, right? But over here, Vardhaman, Mahavir, or Jainism believed in soul, that all animate objects, living objects, or non-living objects have soul. They wanted to say that, and soul is the thing which learn, absorb things, right? They wanted to say this. Soul is there. Soul, they give a more prominence to soul, not body. So soul was the core concept of this particular Jainism philosophy, guys. Jainism believed, Vardhaman Mahavir believed in more ascetic practices, austerity, extreme penance, extreme meditation. He believed in all these things. So what he gave three ratnas, three jewels of Jainism. What are the three jewels? Right faith. When you will have the right faith, you will get the right knowledge. And when you will get the right knowledge, you show the right conduct. Three things, guys. Samyak darshan, sahi, right conviction, right faith, right knowledge, samyak gyan, samyak charit, right conduct. These are the three jewels of Jainism. Anytime they will ask you, you should know this. So anyone who is suffering, anyone who he wants to attain salvation, who wants to attain salvation means free from the cycle of this birth and death. Because even if you are taking birth, you have to go through all these sufferings. In order to, if you have to eradicate these sufferings, you have to go through this in Jainism, Ratna Traya. Now, what they have to do is they have to do follow five constraints, basically, you can say. What are those constraints? Is basically, first is non-violence, ahimsa. Now this was the principle which we are seeing, which was adopted. We have this value since ancient times, and the non-violence was fully utilized by Gandhiji in non-cooperation movement. Are you understanding? Small things are not that much small. We have heard this word an ample number of times. But a single man can utilize it to the core of the power, like he utilized this as a weapon against, like a huge movement has taken place, right? Second is basically satya, truthfulness. You should always, no matter how much shrewd people you get in your life, you should always be truthful, right? Satya, you have to go for. Non-stealing, you should not have the character of stealing something. Stealing, that means anything, you should not steal, right? Then you have to non-possession, you should not possess anything, because possession will give you the desire, will it will give you a lot of things which will bring unhappiness or anxiety or stress or distress in your life. And fifth is you should live a chaste living, means brahmacharya. So in Hindi also they gave, let me show you this: ahimsa, non-violence, speak the truth, truthfulness, don't steal, non-stealing, celibacy, and renounce attachments. Right, guys? Five vows of Jainism. That celibacy is basically brahmacharya only, right? Chaste living, not the family living. So what you are seeing that Jainism is basically forcing us to live in the extremities, to do the extremities. You will later find out that they believed in like completely naked clothes, one sect believed in, right? So extreme things are happening. Extremities, they believe in the procedure like Salekhna. Salekhna means they have to leave their body, their soul will be left by like slowly and slowly fasting themselves, they will die this. They don't say die, but they will reach to the level of salvation. Salekna is the practice done by them. So this is bit, Jainism was bit tough to understand, tough to follow. That's why Jainism could not flourish as much as Buddhism could, because Buddhism gave to the middle path, but Jainism was following. Jainism was following that you have to follow the extreme paths in order to get it. Now, what you are understanding by this, guys, that there are a different perspective. There are a different perspective of achieving salvation. They have just highlighted this because their mind was open, their mind was not corrupt, right? So until this, from this religion we are seeing this, Hinduism says something else, Jainism, Sikhism say something else. So these are not fixed things, right? When you will be in your life, you have achieved something, you will understand that okay, you will also try to find the truth, and I hope you should get your truth once. Like okay, after you achieve your dreams of this particular part, you will think that nothing matters, then you will also try to find some truth. So truth is not fixed, truth is not what they have said, they have applied. So that's why you are seeing that salvation is being like has achieved to them who have practiced very severe practices, who have done very severe practices, extremities. And salvation was achieved by those also who followed medium path. So are you understanding, there are different paths being followed, right? Now over here you understand that in Jainism two sects came into picture after the death of Mahavira. Two sects which came into picture, how they came into picture, that over this period, in this particular period, after the death of Mahavira, famine took place into this Bengal region. So what happened, few of the Jain scholars left this place because it was very difficult for them to survive and moved out to the south. And in south, when they moved out, they were practicing the particular religion of, or the tenets of Jainism as it is. They were following the five vows which we have seen, they were following it as it is, right? Over some period. So who took these followers, who was the leader, or who took this, you will say Bhadrabahu. And who the people who remained over here were led by Sthulbahu. So Stulbahu and Bhadrabahu, right? So what, when over the period of time they gone back, Bhadrabahu and their followers go back, and but they went back and they realized that these people who stayed back in the presence of, in the leadership of Stulbahu, have become relaxed. They have changed the norms which Mahavir and they have Jainism laws were there, right? They have changed it. They were not doing as the original preachers had said. So a sect, or you can say there was differentiation happened in this particular Jainism. So Bhadrabahu group called themselves as Digambars, and by them you should understood that Digambars means they were completely naked. They like to remain, they wear no clothes. Sthulbahu, from S you will remember Swetambar. Swetambar, they wore white clothes. I hope you are understanding. Now Digambar and Shwetambar, you should know some differences, guys. Digambars. I am saying Digambars who went to south, Sthulbahu, right? No, not Sthulbahu. S and S. You should match S and S. This confusion will take place in the prelims also. So you will always match Shwetambar, S, S, Sthulbahu. This is Bhadrabahu and Shwetambar. Now Digambar believed in the five things which I told you: non-stealing, truthfulness, non-possession, non-violence, and the last one was Brahmacharya, celibate, chaste living. This tenet was given by Siddhartha basically. And upper four was given by the 23rd all the Tirthankars which came into picture, like someone who gave it. But fifth tenet was given by Siddhartha, not Siddhartha, guys, Mahavira. I'm really sorry. Now they followed, Digambara followed, or because they was original preachers, those they followed as it is these five. But these Swetambaras followed only four. They did not believe Siddhartha, oh sorry, this Mahavira as the Tirthankar. They said that Mahavira got married, and he followed the family life. So he did not follow this Brahmacharya, chaste living, celibacy. I hope you are understanding. Also, Digambar believed that this particular Mali was a woman, not a man that we told about, right? It's because they considered that no Tirthankar can be a woman. Whereas Shwetambar believed that Mali was a woman because Tirthankar could be woman, right? Uh, all right. You understand this about Digambars and Shwetambars. The basic difference was this only. Now there are different texts related to it. Now that will be covered. The literature part of Buddhism and Jainism, guys, will be covered in literature part in art and culture, right? There you will understand only this Pitakas, a little bit information, Sut Pitaka and that Pitaka, Jatakas, right? And Jainism also Chhed Sutras, you will understand that. To try to curve from there to here, right? Literature part. Also, Digambars and Shwetambars were differentiated over the period of time. Differentiation taken into place, and Shwetambars got basically bifurcated into Sthanak Vasi, Murti Pujaka. Sthanak Vasi means that they worship the saint, right? Some idol, right? They will worship that person who will be representing that particular Jainism at that point of time, right? So you must have seen people sitting with white mask, right? They are the basically they worship these saints. Whereas Murti Pujaka basically worship idols, idol making, like image worshipping of Tirthankars. So they directly worshipping these. But over here, they Sthanakvasi worship saint in the form that they believe that the Jainism or the this power of Tirthankars are into this saint right now. So they try to achieve salvation by this way. So these are very broad topic. Murti Pujaka, Sthanakvasi, these are very broad concepts. We don't have to go delve into it. Just understand this much that Sthanakvasi and Murti Pujaka is related to Swetambars, not Digambars. Under Digambars, uh, you will see the original community as Mulla Sangh and the modern community as Bees Panthi, Bees Panthi, Tera Panthi. Like this you will see as a modern community. Now there are some difference that some will put fruits and flowers and some will not put fruits and flowers. This difference is not needed. You just understand that Mula Sangh, Bispanti, Taranpanti, Terapanti comes under Digambar sect. Shwetambar sect we have Sthanakvasi, Murti Pujaka. If you want to know, I'll give you a homework. If you're curious to know, just read two lines about Sthanakvasi, Murti Pujaka, Mulla Sangh, Bispanti, Terapanti, two lines from Wikipedia. Not more than that. If you are spending more than 5 minutes on this particular topic, you are wasting your time, guys. I'm telling you. You are wasting your time plus chances of clearing the prelims. Alright, guys. Also, see, try to see the PPT. You will find, see, this is the Jainism schism sects. You will divide Sitambar, Digambar, Mandir Margi, Sthanakvasi means Murti Pujaka, Sthanakvasi, Bais Sampradaya, Terapanthi, Bis Panthi, Teranpanthi, and over here Digambar, Mulla Sangh also. So like this, you will find various things. You will go behind this, guys. No, wherever you find Gacha, you just remember that okay, Swetambara. Like this, you have to do the word association, guys. Not everything you can rectify. I am telling you. Now this topic will only be completed through art and what do we say, art and culture class, when they will teach you about this literature part also, right? Now your literature part is left a bit. Literature part, few books you have to remember, like for example Milind Panu, Ashwaghosh, Buddha Charitra. Very simple, right? So this will be done over there, or I have added two in this PPT. You can read it. Also one part art and architecture. That few of the images, like for Jainism, the living places where they used to pray were basically where used to stay was basically Basadi. In Karnataka, there are a lot of Basadis, right? And why Karnataka? Why south and eastern, like western areas, Jainism flourished, not all over India like Buddhism? Because over here you will see that some kings followed it, some kings like supported it. Kharavela over here in Odisha supported it. Over here, Gujarat, Mount Abu, we see some Jainism followers. Over here also we see Jainism followers, and you see that Buddhism followers has like eloped over the period or lapsed over the period of time. But where Jainism was there, still people believe in Jainism. The people who believed 1,000 years ago over their areas are still people are there over in that areas who believed in Jainism, right guys? So these things are left like literature, and this will be covered in art and culture, don't worry. And few like Bahubali structure in Gomateshwar, right, Karnataka, you will see, right, that, right, those will be covered by that part, right, art and culture. So we'll try to sum it up, and what all we have seen, just try to see, right? We started with the causes of rise of Buddhism, guys, right? And then we try to understand the early life or personal life of Siddhartha Gautam. Then we understood different Buddhas, what he achieved, enlightened, nirvana prapti stages, eightfold paths. We understood Buddhist council. We understood different types which emerged in, or schism which emerged in Buddhism. We understood Mahayana, Hinayana, Theravada. You have to do Avalokiteshwar. This is your homework, Avalokiteshwar. Different study, just read them about different Avalokiteshwar, right? Then we moved on to Jainism. Now Jainism is a basically short in nature. You understood the personal life. You understood also Jain councils also taken place where his work was compiled, right? So you have to remember this Jain council also. I'm really sorry, I'll tell you right now. You also understood over here different sects, Digambars and Shvetambars. If one is telling you that something like Gacha was related to, you will automatically go for this Shvetambar, right guys? And different like Bai Sampradaya or Bispanthi, Terapanthi, right? Mula Sangh were associated with, you should know with whom it is associated, right guys? One is remaining this particular Jaina Council. Now Jaina Council happened in Patliputra when 3rd century BC under the chairmanship of Sthulbahu. So Bhadrabahu did not attend it because Bhadrabahu formed the different particular part as a Digambars. And second happened in 5th century AD. See the time difference. 3rd century BC, that means 300 to 200 was the time period. And Mahavir was basically in 500. 540 he took the birth. Must be he died in 400 BC, right? So over here you are seeing that compilation of 12 angs. So these are literature part, angas, purvas continued, right? And this in Vallabhi, Devardi Shama Sharma and Sthulbahu was, Devardi Sharma Sharma was the chairman, right? Compilation of other upangs were taken place, Prakarnisa and Cheda Sutras. So what you have to do is you have to learn these words in the art and culture also, when they will be like when you will be studying different books, literature of Hinduism, this particular part Jainism, you will see these parts again. Try to combine it with here, right, guys? So this way, this particular Buddhism is complete. Buddhism and Jainism will move forward. I'm really sorry if some part is left because this is a crash course. I have some time constraint also. I cannot make it too long, but I tried my best to give you whatever I taught you. I hope the things you will keep in mind, guys. Just revisit the video again. Everything will be clear. Take care, guys. Have a good day. Keep revising.